It's always a pleasure to have you watching and commenting and liking this show.
Yes, your #1 Youth Enviro show.
So, who are we?
Do we really still have to introduce ourselves? But okay, for you who's tuned in for the first time today, I'm Sharissa.
And I'm Esther. So, we'll be right back.
My name is Claudia.
My name is Saima.
And you're watching the Youth Enviro show.
Oh, hi guys. I want to give a shout out to my homies, my classmates, my schoolmates, my homies in the hood. And let's keep the environment clean.
Hello everyone, my name is Cleonice Maungulo. I'm a project support intern from WWF and I did study nature conservation at NAST. So it's very important that I had to tell everybody who's watching this that conservation, it's the key to us, all of us, because we are entitled to take care of our environment. You know, each and everything that we do, it involves the environment. Whatever that you do, you go to work, you're on the environment. You drink water, you do everything that you do about the environment. So to the youth out there, the learners and other kids out there, I'm encouraging you to study nature conservation or anything that has to do with the environment, because it's really, really important.
Welcome back. Conflict over natural resources occur everywhere, whether it's ranging from local disputes to international debates.
Yeah.
But let's have a quick recap on what are natural resources.
Natural resources are resources that are naturally there. We found them here and then we will leave them here. Resources such as water, such as forests, such as wildlife, animals, such as minerals, such as like diamonds.
Oh, gold.
And this is what brought us to today's topic, community-based natural resource management. So, in short, what is community-based natural resource management?
Well, it is a creative process, that is focused on adaptive learning with action for government officials, private sectors, and community people who deal on a day-to-day basis with natural resources.
Do you mean community-based resource management can allow local people to manage a resource?
Yes.
And get some benefits from it?
Exactly. That is the whole structure of why a community-based natural resource management committee was even started.
Wow, that's very interesting. So in Namibia, when was maybe introduced?
Well, our founding father, His Excellency Dr. Sam Nujoma, actually founded, or community-based natural resource management conservancy on the 26th of September 1998.
Wow. Community-based natural resource management helps the community people, the local people, to derive benefit from that natural resource, and as well as protecting it. Because we protect what it belongs to us. So they feel ownership of that certain resource. For example, the local people in Zambezi region are watching over the river. They are checking the type of net the people are coming to use, as well as how frequent the person is fishing in that river. And this is helping the community to manage the resource and as well as benefiting, because if they are not protecting this resource, they will be overfishing. And if people are using mosquito nets, the eggs will actually be also fished or taken out, and then there will be no sustainability in this river.
Adding to that, as Esther mentioned on mosquito nets, using them as fishing nets, it could be that you're taking out organisms within the river that is needed for the river. And now imagine you take out these organisms, you don't need them, and then you just disperse of them. However, that, as she mentioned, is killing off the ecosystem of that river.
So what is the importance of community-based natural resource management?
Well, it serves as a conservation and and a rural development strategy which helps to sustain our biodiversity.
As well as it improves the livelihood of people. Imagine there are conservancies that were actually established, as you said, after 1998.
Yeah, after independence.
Yes, after independence. And then now this conservancy are actually managed by local people. So some local people are employed full-time there, and many of them are deriving benefits from this conservancy.
It could also be, remember as we spoke about human-wildlife conflict, this goes hand in hand. Farmers that establish their farms on certain lands, and then, you know, private sectors or the government come in and say, hi, you know, wildlife is within this area. Let's set up a conservation camp for these animals that, you know, who have either been overpoached or are hunted by the farmers. And so they come together finding a solution on how they both can benefit, but at the same time, you know, protecting our wildlife.
And this actually reduces or mitigates the human-wildlife conflict, because now even these farmers that are surrounding the place, they are benefiting from that conservation.
But we won't talk too much on this because we actually have experts on this topic. So let's hear what they have to say.
So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Shura Sapirkas, for those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, welcome. Today we are going to learn more about the community-based natural resource management, and we are joined by an expert, or let me say an enthusiast. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Nabat Mbeli. I'm a CBNRM coordinator here at Namibia Nature Foundation.
Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us today.
It's a pleasure, always willing to talk to young people like myself.
So, CBNRM, what is it and why is it so important?
CBNRM, being the community-based natural resource management, is basically a national program that looks at giving rights to communities to manage their own resources, in this sense natural resources. It's really important because it's about livelihoods, improving people's livelihoods, alleviating poverty, but as well as just giving people rights and a sense of ownership over what they have, be it wildlife, be it land, anything that they have within their community. In terms of legislation, the government has really had a lot of enabling policies to try and give as much rights over natural resources to the communities to be able to benefit from their natural resources as well as effectively manage it. And some of these policies started from the Nature Conservation Ordinance that was amended, which enabled the formation of conservancies, which are institutions that then have rights over wildlife to then manage the wildlife as well as benefit from it. There was also amendment to the Forestry Act of 2003, which again gave rights to communities to form community forests so that they can benefit from timber as well as non-timber forest products and felled products, wild fruits and so on, as well as grazing. There was another amendment to the Inland Fisheries Act, which enabled the formation of fisheries reserves, whereby communities, especially those in the northeast, can effectively manage their fisheries found in the rivers that they have, like the Kavango River, the Kwando River, as well as the Zambezi and the Chobe.
Well, you've mentioned the government and what they have done since, you know, the pre-colonial legislation. Now, what do you think our government can actually do more of so that there's actually more of an outcome and a benefit within this program?
In my view, the government has really done a lot by enabling these policies, but then they also continue to support the program in making sure that it's run effectively, it's compliant against the standard operating procedures that have been set, But also what they can do is try and harmonize these different policies, because I've mentioned the Nature Conservation Ordinance, I've mentioned the Inland Fisheries Act, I've mentioned the Forestry Act, but these are different acts on their own. So what government can also then look at is try to harmonize all these different policies into one CBNRM policy, giving real stronger rights to communities over all of the natural resources and not really pockets of the various natural resources, bringing on top all the other natural resources, even when we are talking about really such as small-scale mining, so that they can also benefit from such, and also try and rectify some of those conflicting policies, because you get conflicting land users as a result of these various policies. So government can also look at that and try and strengthen the CBNRM policy.
Yep. Now we know that there's so many benefits to this program, especially for the community. But let's talk about the challenges. What challenges is it that this program is facing?
So in terms of the challenges that are being faced by the program, it's really capacity and enthusiasm, people that are really enthusiastic and want to get involved in improving the program, especially young people. We need new, young and vibrant blood like yourself to come into the program and get things moving, because looking at the pioneers that have started the program, still being involved in the program can become a little bit cumbersome and can hold the program back a bit. So but we need new young people coming in with fresh ideas, pushing the program forward, as well as we need funding. There's really a need for a lot of money to be pumped into conservation, because conservation doesn't come cheap. It's actually all these processes in making sure that nature is there and people are benefiting from it is quite expensive. We have also been plagued by governance challenges, people that come into community structures with the aim of benefiting themselves rather than the community, which is really sad. So these are some of the challenges that we have been faced, as well as a high turnover of staff as well as committee. Within a couple of years, you'll have the people that you have trained would have been out of the system, and then you're stuck with the new people that you need to retrain again, and then the program doesn't move forward. It's one of the challenges that we've really been experiencing in the program. Despite all the good, there's actually a lot of good like that that you have mentioned.
Well, we've mentioned, or you've mentioned, how young people aren't enthusiastic or they don't want to be a part of this. But for those who actually want to make a difference, how can they join?
The easiest would be being part of a conservancy, especially if you reside in communal areas within the boundaries of a conservancy or community forest. You can register to become a member. And already by being a member, you get those rights, and you can get involved in the annual general meetings or your general meetings that are convened by the conservancy or community forest to discuss how the community can benefit from the natural resources, how they'll manage it, and so on. So that's the easiest way how you can become involved in the program. But there are also other alternatives whereby one can volunteer, either in a conservancy or community forest. You can volunteer with an NGO or the ministry. You can study nature conservation. You can study environmental science, environmental biology, and then you can become a professional within the program that really provides support to the community.
Well, that has brought us, unfortunately, to the end of this session. Thank you again for your time.
Always willing to make more time. Thank you.
Welcome back. This is the reason why you cannot miss one or any of our episodes. So, just to highlight, community-based nature resource management especially here in Namibia, it aids or help in improving the livelihood of rural community people.
Yeah, as well as it seeks to develop their skills in order for them, to proactively pilot their futures.
Yeah, so in your community, for example, maybe there are no such programs. You may already start looking which resources are available there. For example, maybe if you're in Kavango, then you look, okay, there's a river here. So you can already start to educate people about how to take care of that nature resource to be able to be sustained.
Yeah, to protect it. So make sure that you're doing research on this topic if it is of interest to you. Because there are many organizations. And speaking of organizations, the Namibian Association of CBNRM support groups was started. One that is probably very famous to all of us is MET, which we know as the Ministry of Tourism and Environment.
As well as NACSO is also doing wonders when it comes to community-based nature resource management. If you would like to learn more about community-based nature resource management, there are organizations such as NACSO, as we have spoken, that on their website there's so much adequate information, as well as the Ministry of Environment, Tourism and Forestry.
Well, did you know that before independence, laws actually stated that rural people weren't allowed to manage natural resources? But thankfully, our government amended that legislation in 1995, which then gave us the control to be able to manage our own resources here in Namibia.
Wow, that is good news. So we came to the end of our today's show. So as from me, Esther,
And me, Sharissa.
see you next time.
Bye.